On today's episode of Chronicles of a Nigerian Woman, I'm going to be reading Itohan's story. Take a listen. I am an extremely successful woman. I am 44 and I am a C-suite executive in a multinational switching company. Specifically, I am currently the Chief Operating Officer over operations in the Europe, Middle East, and African regions. I have been married for 18 years and I have 3 lovely children, 2 girls and a boy between them. My first child is 17 and is currently in the university. The second is 15 in SS3, while the last one is 11 and in GS3. You can guess that I only planned for 2, but hey, I ended up with 3. My husband and I are happily married, despite what a lot of people think about women at my level, especially those who have to travel a lot like I do. And no, he has never cheated on me, nor has my job ever created tension or problems within my marriage. Someone asked me a question recently, and I decided to share my thoughts publicly in response to that question. The question I was asked is, how did you do it that you have it all? A high-flying career, a great marriage, well-raised children, and a deep faith. I had never given deep thought to that question up till the moment I was asked. So I took some time to think about it. Can a woman have it all? Do I have it all? What is all? I realized that I cannot answer the question on behalf of all women, but I think that sharing my own experience might give helpful insight. I grew up in a broken family. Maybe I'll share that story another day. I was an only child and I lived with my paternal grandparents. I got the best education and I was sent abroad for my university to study international business and finance. I worked for a year in the UK before taking a double master's in business administration and project management. I met my husband Isaac during my master's, as he was also studying for his master's degree in the same university. He was 4 years older than my 23 years at the time. We became good friends and he proposed to me on our graduation day. He left for Nigeria immediately, but I stayed on to tidy things up before I left. It would take me another 6 months to go back to Nigeria, and I got a job not long after, and we got married about a year later. I have always been a career-focused woman. I had big dreams about the kind of career I wanted, and Isaac and I spoke about this. He's a good man, and he told me he would support me in everything I wanted to do. I believed him. He had joined his father's international shipping business right after he finished school, and he had been in it for a few years before coming to the UK for his master's. At the time I got married, I was not very clear about what our family would look like, but my career was my main goal, and I knew that I would not take any decisions that would make me sacrifice that. Isaac and I agreed to have 2 children, and I wanted them to be close together so that I could be done with that and get back to work in the shortest possible time. Unlike me, Isaac came from a very large family with many extensions, and once I got pregnant, he convinced one of his maternal aunts, who was a widow, to live with us. She was a lovely woman and she took me just like her own daughter. She could not understand why I worked so hard, but she took charge of the home front for me anyway, to the extent that I stopped cooking almost completely. Before she came, I cooked in bulk at the weekends and stored food in the freezer. But once she came, she relieved me of that duty. She also brought a maid with her from their hometown in Kogi State to assist her. Between them, I was spoilt silly and fed fat. There were hot meals waiting when we got back from work, and there was lunch packed for us every morning. I worked up till the day I gave birth to my first daughter. In fact, I started feeling mild labor pains at work during the day. They got worse in the evening after work, and so we headed to the hospital that night. I gave birth the next morning. Mama Eunice was there for me through it all. And when I resumed work after 3 months, I left my baby completely in her care. I resumed into a new role at a bigger organization than where I first worked. And I got pregnant as planned when my daughter was 9 months. It was an easy pregnancy, and just like before, I worked right up till the end of it. Mama Eunice's presence made everything easy. I hired an extra maid to assist her with the children, and we had a car and a driver permanently assigned to her for errands and whatever else she needed to do. I only called in during the day to check on them. I breastfed my babies exclusively for the 3 months I was at home with them, but by the time I resumed work, we moved them to formula, and Mama Eunice added semi-solids by the time they were 5 months. It was no struggle. I changed jobs strategically several times while my children were growing up because I was always looking for bigger and better opportunities. I was on a foreign trip when I found out I was pregnant with my third child. I was not pleased about it, but Mama Eunice assured me that she would support me as always. I opted for delivery by elective cesarean section so that I could have a tubal ligation, which means I got my fallopian tubes tied during the delivery process. I did this to remove the risk of future pregnancy. We put the children in boarding schools once they got into secondary school. I visited when I was available, and my husband and Mama Eunice were always on hand for them when I wasn't there. Through the years, I have always ensured that we had at least one annual family vacation during their long holidays. Mama Eunice always went with us, and I used the opportunity to bond with the children. The maids also got time to go to their families during those holidays. Unfortunately, we lost Mama Eunice around the time my last daughter turned 9. It was a huge loss for us. She was a mother to me in every sense of the word, even closer than my biological mother, who I did not grow up or really have a close mother-daughter relationship with, since she was remarried. It was such a heavy blow that I had to take a week off work when it happened. It was so unexpected, and it happened within a few days. By this time, however, our last daughter was about to go into boarding school, and so it was not so hard to make the domestic adjustments. Isaac and I agreed that because of the children's ages, they should complete their first degree in Nigeria, by which time they would be mature enough to handle themselves outside the country. And so our first daughter is in a private university in Nigeria, and we are able to keep an eye on her. So, to answer the question I was asked, I would say, going by my experience, that each woman has to define what all is for her. For me, my career takes precedence, and I have sacrificed other things to get my dream. Yes, I wanted happy, well-raised and balanced children, but I have never felt that I had to be the one there for them 100%. My children know that I love them dearly, but I am not ashamed to say that I love my work too. Thankfully, I found the right trusted support system to help care for my family and raise my children while I focused on growing in my job. I don't want to consider how things would have turned out otherwise, because I never had to make that choice, thankfully. My husband has always been aligned with me, and we take all decisions together. If what I have is what can be defined as all, then I have explained how I did it. But it is possible that some women put personal presence with their children or their families as their greatest priority. And if that is their definition of all, then I don't have it all. And I am fine with that. What are your thoughts about Itohan and her situation? Does she have it all? What is all to you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, to share it with somebody who will find it useful, and definitely don't forget to subscribe to my channel. There's a link in the description box below to join the Valiant Women's Network, which is a community of women where we support one another and carry out activities to help women thrive. Take a moment to click the link and join us. Till I come your way again. Ciao!